Like many people, I've been waiting my entire life for a Justice League movie to finally hit the live action. And we finally got it back in 2017. But unfortunately, it was a big pile of shit. And we're going to talk about it right now. Justice League is probably the biggest disappointment I've ever had watching a movie. You know, a Justice League movie is supposed to be on the level of the Avengers movies, if not higher. But we definitely did not get that kind of quality with this movie. They just completely take a shit on the DC characters that we love so much. Like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, all of them. It's like they just pull their pants down and just shit all over them. It's a complete insult to DC fans, and I really don't understand how anybody can like this generic, forgettable ass movie. This terrible, terrible humor. And the whole behind the scenes of this movie is just a whole nother video itself. But I'm not really worried about that right now. We're just going to talk about the finished products we got in the theaters. And I hope that there's no way that Snyder Cut can be any worse than this movie. Can it? This movie is directed by, I don't know who. It says Zack Snyder, but I think we all know Zack Snyder did not direct this movie. I guess it's directed by Joss Whedon slash Warner Brothers. It doesn't feel like there's actually a director behind here. It just kind of feels like a studio movie that had a checklist of everything that needed to get done. Go ahead, where do you even start with this movie? I don't even think I have a positive for it. Actually, I do. I have like one positive, and that's Superman acts more like Superman in this movie than he did in any of the other movies. And by that I mean he acts more like, kind of Christopher Reeve sort of Superman. But I can only count that as a positive so highly, because everything else in this movie is just completely terrible. I mean, where do you start with this movie? The CGI and green screen in this movie is just terrible. And it's baffling as well, because this movie had a budget of like $300 million. And you go and look at Avengers Infinity War, which had about the same budget. That movie looks so much better than this. This movie looks like a cheap TV show. It's like, where did all the money go? I don't understand. I must have just been the reshoots that they had to do for this movie, because all the awful CGI in this movie is just very distracting. Whether it be, Superman CGI mustache, and especially Cyborg. He has like the worst CGI I've ever seen. He doesn't even look real at all. It just looks like a floating half of Ray Fisher's head throughout the entire film. And then Flash's running looks really stupid as well. Everything looks so fake in this movie. You can just tell everything that was shot on a green screen. And there's multiple times throughout this movie that you see obvious body doubles for the actors. You can tell it's not Gal Gadot in certain scenes. You can tell it's not this and that actor in certain scenes, It's just very distracting and just very amateur. You wouldn't even know that this was a big blockbuster movie that the studio probably wanted to make a shitload of money just to break even. Steppenwolf, the main villain of this movie, also looks completely terrible. I don't even know what kind of design this is supposed to be. He's not intimidating. There's nothing to this character. We don't even know anything about his motivation. He's a terrible villain to start off the Justice League. You could have done Brainiac. You could have done Lex Luthor. You could have done Darkseid. There's so many better villains you could have done for a first Justice League movie, besides fucking Darkseid's henchman. Like, is that really the best they could do for the first Justice League movie to ever hit the live action? I mean, this is going to be in the history books right here. And unfortunately, people got to see this shitfest of a film as the first live action Justice League. And it's a complete slap in the face of DC fans. And I'm just praying that before I die, we get a much better Justice League movie than this. Because right now, DC looks terrible with putting out complete shit content like this. I mean, this movie takes Batman, and it turns him into a complete joke. Batman is so weak in this movie. He's like a completely different character from BVS. In BVS, he was so much more badass and cool and, frightening, intimidating. And in this movie, he's just like a knockoff Tony Stark. It's like they don't even know how to treat Batman. He's just dumb. He's stupid. He acts nothing like Batman. He doesn't seem intelligent at all. Nor does he seem like the Justice League even need him, besides for his wallet. The costume design in this movie is just alright, I guess. I mean, I think they could have done better with the Flash's suit. I'm not liking the whole Power Rangers vibe I'm getting from Flash's suit. And also, Ezra Miller as the Flash, I don't think it was a very good casting. The guy just spits a bunch of cringy lines throughout the film. He also looks nothing like Barry Allen. Every time he opens his mouth, you just gotta try not to cringe because his lines were just that terrible. Which is a theme throughout this movie because pretty much all the humor is just stupid. Whether it be having Flash land on Wonder Woman's boobs or, the whole thing on little TV where it's like, this woman said the alien stole her man. It's just like, what the fuck? Also, in the movie, it just cuts to a random family and we're supposed to just care, I guess. It's literally just a huge waste of time. The movie is only 2 hours long, which it needed to be a lot longer to explain all the shit that's going on in this movie. The family does absolutely nothing for this movie. They just randomly just cut to them, and the only connection the family has to our heroes is that they get saved at the end. It's like, why did we need to waste our time on that? You could have been explaining more about Cyborg or Flash. They just introduced all these random characters that we never even seen in live action before. I guess we're just supposed to go with it. I don't know. The music is also pretty generic in this movie. There's really not even need to even mention the music because there's nothing to it. And for a Justice League movie, the action is pretty fucking lame in this movie. You got all these godlike beings, the Flash, he's faster than the speed of light. You got Superman, who's literally Superman, the god of all superheroes, basically. Then you got Wonder Woman and Batman, one of the greatest martial artists in all the DC universe. So why is the action so fucking lame in this movie? I can't think of a single memorable action scene in this movie. It should have been much more epic. There was no team-ups at all. You look at the Avengers, they did a good job at giving everyone the time to shine. But I did not feel like that happened in this movie at all. No character really gets a chance to shine throughout the entire movie because there's nothing for anybody to really do in this movie. You look at the Avengers, and they did such a great job of having all these characters interacting with each other. You really felt their chemistry. You seen them butt heads and have conflict, and it felt very natural. Where in this movie, when they have conflict, it just feels like, oh, well, every time superheroes team up, they gotta fight and argue, I guess, and it's just like, what? It's just like, really? This movie is basically just a bootleg of the Avengers. There's just nothing fresh or exciting about this film. It's not very entertaining. It's not very well acted. It's just, you can really tell none of the actors want to be in this movie, especially poor Ben Affleck. Yeah, if you don't know anything about the Justice League, please don't let this be your first impression of it, because it's a very bad first impression for anybody who doesn't know about the Justice League. As someone who's been waiting my entire life for a Justice League movie, this just feels like a complete slap in the face to me and every other DC fan. We deserve much better than this. So yeah, unfortunately we have to deal with this movie for the next year until the Zack Snyder version of Justice League comes out, which there's no way it can be any worse than this movie. So I guess that's the good news.